Alright guys, today I'll be reviewing Lightning Rod at Dollywood with the lift hill. Now, I was sort of expecting a weaker ride experience than my experience last year with the launch, because everyone was saying, oh my god, this thing's so much weaker now. Like, you had to have rode it with the launch for it to be good. It's bottom tier RMC now. Yeah, this ride is a demonstration of a lot of things wrong with the community, and I'll explain why in this review. So, as always, presentation is amazing. You have sort of the 50s music and the ambiance and all the car parts in the queue. Easily the best themed RMC. I mean, the next closest is Air Force One, which is actually really good, but it's not quite this. And you're going to pull down the restraints. They're technically not the same trains because they had to change it to accommodate for the lift hill and have like a chain dog and everything. But they feel the same. You have the lap bars, you pull them down, you can keep them up with the shin guards and everything. So you're going to get the all clear, and oh boy. Every time I rode this year, I was so ready for the launch, and it never came. Like, even though I know the lift hill's coming, it just doesn't feel right not launching. However, I will say, that is where the differences end. The lift hill, it's not thrilling at all, but you do get a good view. I'll say that. You appreciate all the landscaping. The launch was a good launch, but it didn't make the ride or anything. It wasn't like a top 3 element on the ride or anything. So, yeah, that's where the differences end. And the fact that everyone was saying this thing is so much weaker now, like it's a lower tier RMC at this point, is just absurd. I think either people got really unlucky when they rode and they just somehow caught it on an extremely slow day, or what I think has happened, and a lot of people just want to flex the fact that they got to ride the only launched wooden coaster, because the rest of the layout feels no different from last year. And I know that's definitely a popular thing to do, is to flex rare credits, and I feel like this is just a perfect example of that, of how people want to say, oh, you didn't get to ride it with the launch, it's terrible now with the lift hill. No, it's not. It's still up there with rides like Velocicoaster for me. It's still incredible. It's just, I feel like some people may have had a worse experience, like particularly when it first opened and it might have been running slow. New trains might not have been broken in, but especially later down, like a month after it opened, I can't comprehend how people can get off of that and say that was significantly worse than 2023's with a straight face, because it just wasn't. So, yeah, we'll get into the actual ride experience. Coming over the dolly, you get the same airtime in the back that you would have otherwise. You still get a bit of floater there. The first drop is still my favorite RMC first drop. Yes, I like this more than Iron Gwazi's and Steel Vengeance's. I don't know what it is. I just love how you're kind of diving into the woods, especially at night, just falling into a black abyss. Of course, if you saw my vlog, I didn't get to experience it at night because of the nice little flash flood. But, yeah, I got to ride it at night in 2023, and those visuals are insane, and they're still similar, even in the day. So, yeah, the power of this first drop is impeccable. The visuals, it's such a good first drop. Top 5 first drop for me, for sure. Then you hit the valley of this first drop. Yes, it's rough, and yes, the next valley is also rough. The rest of them don't really give positives or roughness, but this one definitely shakes you up a bit, which, if you know me, I think that's a positive, actually. I know one of the ride ops there who's an enthusiast was saying, like, oh yeah, go in row 11, because that's smooth. I'm like, yeah, I want to go in row 12 for the potholes. I know I'm probably the only person who's watching this who would agree with that statement, but I think it adds to the aggression of the ride. So then you hit the sustained wave turn. Nowadays, people can tell you this is just weak floater. I think it's more weak ejector. It's definitely stepping over the line into ejector for me, and it's extremely sustained. And again, you have those amazing visuals of diving into the woods. It's such a good element still. You hit that next valley, which is the roughest, so definitely shakes you up a bit, which again, I can appreciate the aggression. And then you hit the first twist and shout. This one, still weak ejector. You get good laterals on this too. It's a solid element, but the next twist and shout is diabolical. This is better than any moment on Steel Vengeance, easily. This thing skyrockets you so far out of your seat. It's incredible. It feels almost like Air Force One's first little speed hill after the Raven Trust dive. Not quite as strong as that, but again, still a fantastic element. Then you have one little step up going into the quad down. You get good ejector on that, and then you have the quad down. Still one of the greatest sequences of all time. Nothing like Air Force One's quad down, which I experienced 2 days earlier, but I could still tell that this moment was incredible. Just 4 insane moments of ejector back to back to back to back. It's amazing, careening down the mountain as well. It's just one of the greatest parts of any coaster. And then you hit that speed hill after the quad down, and it's just such a strong moment of ejector. This quad down is extremely reminiscent of a weak version of Air Force One's, because you got the main quad down, and then you got an airtime moment before it and after it. Of course, this is nowhere near as aggressive as Aries, but it's still a fantastic moment. And then you hit the half loop, and this is also an amazing part of the ride. Not really too many positives going into it, but you still get that great pop of ejector in the back coming out of it, and then you slam on the brakes, so that's your ride on Lightning Rod. Overall, this is still a fantastic top 10 coaster for me, up there with rides like Velocicoaster, Iron Gwazi, Sky Rush, just all the greats. I will note before the final score that I am counting this as 2 credits, Launch Lightning Rod and Lift Lightning Rod. And I know that might sound weird coming from me saying that they feel identical other than the launch and the lift hill, but to me they're 2 because just the launch feels so much different than the lift hill that it fundamentally changes the ride. Like, that one element is just so different that I have to call it a new credit. So with that out of the way, this new version of Lightning Rod is still getting a 10 out of 10. It is up there with the elite of the elite, not counting Air Force. Obviously, like I said in my Goliath review, none of like the 8/9 coasters I give 10 out of 10s to are coming anywhere near touching Air Force, but this is just such a phenomenal ride. And I cannot comprehend how some people can seriously say that this ride's leagues below Twisted Timbers and Wicked Cyclone and other mid-RMCs. So that's my review of new Lightning Rod. Let me know what you guys think of this down in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.